Hey, Richard Myers here. Hey, again, thank you for joining me. Say, I want to mention as I post these videos on YouTube, I can put a picture right at the front of the video. And if I don't do that, what happens is they catch me in a horrible grimace from the first few frames of the video. And so I've just been posting odd pictures up there, and that also kind of tells me which video I've done and gives me some indication of the uniqueness of that video. So when you see these pictures of me in the front, they go by so fast you probably don't even see them. But it's just a way to make a better presentation up front than a horrible grimace that they put in there if I don't put one in. Hey, this video is about a guy that I like and enjoy, but I want to issue a corrective because it's a commonly misunderstood thing, and I've dealt with it extensively. But I just want to mention this video. Jonathan Cahn is his name, and Jonathan is a unique individual, has a unique ministry, and I enjoy his videos. And there's one video that he does to determine the date that Jesus was born. And sometimes I hesitate to mention it because it's on a rather odd and channel and ministry that I wouldn't support. So anyway, if you run onto that, it's very compelling. His argument is hard to refute on the date that Jesus was born. Now, that's all aside. That's just introduction. I like Jonathan Cahn. I'm not being negative, but he did do a video. It's entitled "The Pope and End Time Apostasy." The Pope and End Time Apostasy. In this video, he goes after Pope Francis for declaring that they're going to bless homosexual activity and unions, and so this is something that's been in the news, and he then describes that as the end time apostasy from 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Now we in this channel, and I've gone extensively into this, believe that the word apostasia simply means departure. And what Paul was talking about was our departure, our pending departure, as I like to say, in rapture. But I wanted to bring something out else about Jonathan Cahn's video. He is it's like what's that where the guy tries to put a shoe on the maiden. I can't think of the name of that, but he's squeezing this in to try to squeeze out some sort of apostasy to make the incorrect translation of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3 work out. They're just trying as hard as they can to find some way to find a rebellion that Paul really wasn't talking about. Now, but the point I want to make in this is the point he makes about Pope Francis. I just want to say Satan is a counterfeiter. Now, it would be good for you to go in and just Google Satan as a counterfeiter, and then you'll see all the different Bible websites. And just go in and look up for a little bit. One of Satan's strategy is counterfeiting. And so he wants to create, and usually they end up being cults. But these counterfeits are a very effective strategy to besmirch and to prevent people from giving a serious look at their walk, at the existence of God and accepting Jesus Christ as their personal Savior. And so I was surprised not too long ago, a few years ago, when I heard a speaker describe Islam as a Christian cult. I'd never had that kind of a thought. But if you really look at it, Islam and Muhammad, they were Christian. That is a Christian cult. In other words, they take Christian biblical truths and they twist it and make it into a cult. And they have these characteristics, which I'll describe here in a minute, of all cults. Now, the Catholic Church is a cult, pure and simple. And I said one time in a sermon that, and I just assumed everybody knew, the Pope is not a Christian. If you look at now, a Catholic person who comes to the Catholic Church and would describe themselves as a Catholic could be saved. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the individual who in sincerity and lack of information might seek with a good heart and a pure heart, might seek the Lord. But the teachers, there's a whole nother ball game. The teachers, and especially the Pope, he cannot be described as one who is ignorant of the truth. And so he has distorted the truth in order to deceive people and to put people into bondage. And there's no way that the Spirit indwells that man, and there's no way that he could be, in a sense, fellowship with me as a follower of the way, as a believer in biblical Christianity. And then when I was young, my parents were originally, my grandfather actually was a Seventh-day Adventist minister. And so in that context, by the time I came along, I'm the last of 5. They were not going to Adventist assemblies and gatherings. But in my context, in my family, there was an anti-Catholic overtone. And when I was first saved, it was 1960, shortly after I was saved, the church got together and we knelt on our knees and prayed fervently that Jack Kennedy would not be elected president because he was a Catholic. And so that's the background. Now, so I didn't think too much. Well, Catholics are Catholics, so what? I didn't think about it. When I got to seminary, actually in the library, started reading actual Catholic doctrine, actual books published by the Catholic Church, and I was horrified. It was far worse than I'd ever imagined. I mean, this is doctrine that is of the devil. There's no question about it. Now, is the Pope the Antichrist or the Antichrist religious person? No, I'm not going to go there. But Catholicism is a cult, pure and simple. So for Jonathan then to describe the Pope as a Christian, the vicar of Christ, and therefore committing the apostasy described in 2nd, he's first not understanding that Catholicism is a cult. It's not Christianity, it's a cult. Now again, people who are in cults may be saved, but I'm assuming, I'm believing that the Spirit of God, as the Spirit indwells that saved and born again individual, the Spirit of God will move them out of that cult and into the light over time. Now, but so Jonathan misses an important point. That Catholicism is not Christianity. And now I have trouble even going into what is sometimes described as a Catholic Church, because there is a presence of Satan there that I don't like going in those buildings. And I'm not the only one who feels that way. But that's just kind of a personal thing. When I was over in Asia, the Hindu temples and places, I couldn't go in there. There was a presence of evil that I could immediately sense as I even walked by. And I get that same sense in a Catholic context. And so I just wanted to bring that out. If you watch, I'm going to link Jonathan's video so you can watch it. So there's 2 things here. One is that Catholicism is a cult. And number 2 is that he's twisting and struggling to try and fit something in so he can interpret apostasia in 2 Thessalonians as a rebellion or apostasy. Now, I'm going to do another video on cults, because another thing I find interesting is that in cults, or things that we typically see as cults, a lot of times there is real biblical truth that's twisted just a little bit. And it turns it into a negative as far as people looking at it and say, boy, I wouldn't want to join that group. They're a bunch of weirdos. And so there's some elements, and I'm going to use another video to cover those. But I just wanted you to know about Jonathan. I love Jonathan. He's a great guy, and I'm not putting him down on all of his books, which are fascinating and interesting, and many of the things he shares is very compelling. But in this case, he really went off the rails to try and fit the Pope in as the apostasy. how can you be? You can't apostatize from something you're not in originally. And so I just wanted to bring that out to you, and just realize that if you're involved in any of these cultic activities, it can be very dangerous. Hey, thank you for joining me, and again, I hope you enjoy these videos and find them challenging and can bring some needed light on some subjects. Hey, thanks so much.